Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the garage. We're working on the Grand National. We're going to be doing a long awaited project. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. We're upgrading the headlights from a sealed beam stock unit to an H4 LED unit, which should make a huge difference in what the car currently has. It should be a lot brighter, a lot easier to drive at nighttime. So what we're going to show you today is going to be applicable to any 4x6 4 lamp car. I believe it's G-body and A-body from 79 probably all the way, up into the to the late 80s. So let's take a look at it. The original sealed beams that came with the car 34 years ago, they were okay back then, but lighting has come so far in a fairly short time. And now that we have LEDs and HIDs, projection headlights in vehicles, when I'm driving around this car, especially at nighttime, it almost looks like I'm driving around with park lamps on. So it is time to make it comparable to what's on the road. Not only do they shine brighter, but they also reach farther. So it's just going to make it a lot easier and safer to drive too. So here's today's H4 beam. This is a glass lens, just like the original sealed one. But in this case, it's got a housing on the back that accepts a new style halogen bulb, or in our case, an LED. So for the upgrade that was around probably 10 years ago, you grab your sealed beam, you grab your halogen bulb, your H4 bulb, and there was a harness that you would upgrade so that the car's electrical system would handle the extra wattage from these bulbs versus the sealed beams. Sealed beams are probably 45 to 55 watts, and these things can go anywhere from 60 to 100. So you needed the extra relays and wiring just to make sure you didn't melt or short out your headlight switch in the car. So we're gonna do the upgrade, but we're gonna take it one step further. But we're gonna upgrade to an LED lamp. This is a 6,000 Kelvin lamp. It's a 50 watt, so it's very close to the wattage of the original sealed beam. And these are designed to simply fit right into the same housing. And they're now basically plug and play. So there's no harness needed to jump from the old to new. It's basically plug it in, bolt it back in the car, and you're good to go. You're using less power, and these run a lot cooler than your typical halogen lamp would. So I went with the H4 by Hella. Again, like I said, glass face, really well-made housing. You can see I've got one of the LEDs mocked up in here already. And these were rumored to fit properly in the headlight bucket with a trim ring around it. Everything fits nice and tight like the stock sealed beam. So that's why I chose this. I just think it's worth paying for some quality. There's some knockoffs out there and they don't fit tight with a trim ring, so you gotta shim them up, fill it with silicone, whatever you're gonna do, but it's just, to me, that's just not the way to do it. This is a popular upgrade for these cars, and there's lots on the market, and what's popular is the eyeball style black LED. And so there's a couple good brands out there. They're not cheap, but again, they're built really well. JW Speaker and Truck Light are a couple manufacturers that make really good quality LED plug and play lights for these cars. I wanted to keep the car sort of looking stock, so that's why I went with the clear lens option with this H4. But I mean, it's your personal preference. I just think the car looks fine the way it is. I just want better performance out of the headlights. So in this case, we got the housings, we got the LED bulbs, and for about 150 bucks, to me, it's totally worth it. It's a quick upgrade, and we're gonna get into it. So there's not much needed for the project. Couple tools, simple hand tools, a Torx T15 screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, and again, the H4 housing and your LED bulb. These Hellas actually came with a jumper harness too, because in some cases, if you're going with the H4, the polarity is wrong, and you have to repin the top and right side wire on the connector. But this little jumper would do that for you. We're going, again, like I said before, with the LED option, so I don't have to repin anything. It's basically a plug and play setup. This part of the light here does the conversion for me. It eliminates the radio frequency interference that these things can cause, and it eliminates some of the flickering that I've seen on a couple of swaps. So, you know, this is fairly new technology. We're bringing the Grand National into the 21st century finally. Yeah, so it's really simple. We will need a couple screwdrivers and we're going to start taking it apart. All right, let's go through the steps. First one we're going to do is just get ourselves a reference point on the shop wall here. We're going to mark as close as we can the center point of the existing sealed beams, and that way when we put the LEDs in, if they're not lined up or they don't quite have the same alignment, we're not going to be driving around at nighttime, you know, blinding people with these bright lights. So we got the car facing the wall, and I'm just going to try not to block the beam here. I'm just looking for the center point of the brightest part of the light, and I'm going to mark that with a couple pieces of tape. Again, this isn't really the way to do it. When you look at setting up these lights and aiming them, there's certain distances, 25 feet back, and proper ways to do it, but I just want to get the way these buckets are aimed right now so that my new bulbs give me the same location when I put them in, and then we'll fine tune it later. So I'm going to get both sides, and yeah, we're just hitting the bright spot here to give us something to reference. Here, guys. So grab your T15 Torx. First step is we're going to move this headlight bezel that's surrounding the lamps, and there's 4 screws. There's 2 up in the top and there's 2 over on the side here. Just a quick update, this garage floor still looks really good. We're working in here almost every day. I'm super happy with it. I'll throw the link to the other video up on the screen, but yeah, super happy with the floor. It's holding up real well. So real quick, we're just gonna pop these screws out, and I will mention this is specific to these cars with these bezels. This is a panhead Torx screw, not that easy to find off the shelf at your parts store. There are a couple companies in the US that are reproducing these screws. Torx is nice because it grabs the screwdriver really well. Take your time when you're pulling these out, and don't drop them, don't lose them, because they're not that simple to find. Okay, so once you have your 4 screws removed, you can see the bezel's already loose. You pull it away from the car, you take out your turn lamp, leave that to the side, and you've got your bezel, and just set that off to the side. Okay guys, next, there's 4 Phillips screws. There's 2 on the top, and there's 2 underneath. It's gonna be tough to see. But in some cars, I know in some other G bodies, the 2 screws are here, and then there's 2 slotted ones down here that you can just loosen. But in this case, on the Grand National, we got to take all 4 screws. It's kind of funny, you know, GM went to a lot of lengths to make this car, you know, give it the all black, the Darth Vader look, and yet they just took these trim rings off the shelf. I'm glad they made them stainless steel because, you know, after all the years, they haven't turned to rust or started to rust. But, you know, they could have blacked them out. Again, I'm trying to keep the car fairly stock looking on the outside, so I haven't painted them with trim black or anything like that. But yeah, these ones underneath are a little awkward. Just find the screw and guide it out, and then one left on the other side. Okay, so we got the stock H4656 ready to come out, and it's just simply grab the 3-prong connector on the back, just kind of wiggle it loose here, and there we go. There's our connector. Here's your original beam. If you are going with an H4 upgrade, when I was talking about the connector, the top and the right hand side, with the H4 bulbs, you do have to repin the stock wiring if you're not using the harness with the relays to help with the voltage. You do got to switch the green and the tan wire. It's really simple. You basically push down the tab on the inside, pull your wire out, swap them around, and you repin the connector to use the H4. But again, we're going with the LEDs, so it's just simple plug and play. So let me show you here the big difference with the halogen and the LED. So you got your halogen bulb here that comes with the kit. And as mentioned, it drops right in, and your locking mechanism goes right over top, and you cinch it in. So then you look at the LED, which has the same configuration with the 3 tabs. So you line that up and you drop it in, but all of a sudden, how do I get this clip past this cooling fan and these fins? It just doesn't seem like it's going to work, which is exactly what I thought. But most of these LED bulbs are designed to take this little locking 3-tab plate right off the bulb, like I just did there. So basically what you do is you set your plate down just like so, and this allows you to bring your clamp over and basically get it secured in the light. So that's ready to go. And then you go ahead and you take your LED, which has a couple of alignment little tabs here. You take your LED, you slide it down, and you basically lock it in, and there you go. We don't have a boot on this yet, but I will put the boot on that came with the halogen. These are supposed to be fairly waterproof, water resistant, and honestly, the Buick doesn't see a lot of bad weather. So that's as simple as it is to get the LED bulb ready to plug into the car. Little tip here, guys, when you're taking out these retainer rings, do the bottom screws first so that everything's not fumbling around on you like I was on the other side. It's real straightforward. So it gives you a bit of instruction on how to align this LED in the housing so you're not blinding everybody when you go for your test drive. Take a look at this. You got your chips here, your LED chips. You got one higher than the other, if you can get a shot of that. The high one is low beam, the lower chipset is high beam, and then you got these little metal tabs, these little shields that go over top. So basically what they want you to do is have the chips lined up 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and these metal tabs facing up in the housing at 12 o'clock, and that's going to get you a starting point. So we got our housing, this side's the top. I'm going to insert the LED, and the nice thing about these ones is that the wiring harness is basically lined up at the 6 o'clock position, so you got a reference point as you spin this in. You pop it in, you pop your tabs in, you give it a bit of a twist, it's locked in, and we're lining up 3, 9, and 12, and this is kind of ready to go in the car. So yeah, this is simple plug and play. New harness into old harness. Everything, all the work is done by this little wire pack right here. We're gonna tuck our wiring back into the bucket. Now I'm gonna, after I put this in, I'm gonna go under the hood and I'm gonna zip tie these wires out of the way, just kind of routing it along the same route as the original harness, but you know, there's tons of room back there. So we're gonna set this in the bucket. Set it there, we'll grab our trim ring, and we'll get ready to put this back together. It really helps when you're doing this job to have a magnetic screwdriver, but we're grabbing our trim ring, we're reinstalling our screws. Yeah, so throw your 4 screws back in, tighten them up. Okay, so we got our 4 Phillips back in, 2 top, 2 bottom, and as you can see, everything is nice and snug in this trim ring, just like stock, a good fit. And yeah, taking a look, it's got a little bit of a different diffuser pattern, but it really looks close to stock. It's not that far off, and you get the benefits of LED. If you glance at it, you're probably not going to notice. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pop the other side in and give these things a little test. Okay guys, moment of truth. We're going to pop the headlights on and see what we got. Hopefully everything works as it should. Let there be light. Oh yeah. Holy crap, I can see a massive difference. I'm going to turn the high beams on. Make sure we got all 4 working. And you can I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the original halogen is such a yellow light compared to this white 6000K light. I gotta do all four, but this is gonna be really good for just regular city driving. Mission accomplished. Normally when your polarity's wrong, you'll either have all high beams on without switching to high beams, or when you turn the high beams on, you'll lose your low beam version of a light. So yeah, this conversion kit really does what it says. It's basically plug and play. All right guys, before you put the bezels back on and button everything up, I just wanted to bring the car back in to the marks on the wall, and I'm looking at the beams, and man, they are so much brighter. But you can see the hot spot of the light. I've centered it on pretty much on my tape mark, so I didn't touch the buckets at all. It looks pretty close. The cutoff is actually pretty good. It doesn't look very high, but yeah, we're gonna try this out for now. And if we're driving around at night, we're getting flashed by people, we'll certainly make the adjustment and lower the light down. But these things make a massive difference. Yeah. So once you've determined that you're lined up pretty much where your the center hotspot of your old lamps were, you can put the bezels back on and button this one up. So pop your bezel back in. Same as just the reverse of taking it out, real straightforward. Parking lamp in, turn lamp in I should say, and just careful with the paint. And you're putting your 4 screws back in. Kind of doing this blind, but I mean the holes kind of line themselves up fairly well. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm kind of seeing stars here looking into these LEDs. They are bright. Like, what a difference. I'm sure this is gonna make driving this car at nighttime, coming home late from a car show, way safer, way more enjoyable. So again, put the 4 screws back in, and as I mentioned, I'm gonna jump under the hood and just make sure all the part of the wiring harness for the LED is all tucked out of the way and zip tied up properly. So same procedure on the other side, and you're good to go. Okay guys, that's gonna wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed bringing the Grand National, bringing the G-body into some 21st century lighting. A fairly cheap, really straightforward upgrade now that the LED is pretty much a plug and play option for you. Again, if you like this kind of content, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to Jofalltrades, and we'll catch you in the next one.